Hey everybody, welcome to the newest episode of The Bearded Gamer Show. Now, as always, I'm your host, of course, The Bearded Gamer, Chris Arnone. Yeah, I trimmed it up a bit. It was all like metal and stuff, but it was like kind of trying to attack the rest of my face. It was kind of a scary situation. So yes, trimmed up before Memorial Day weekend. Anyway, so, time for a new episode of The Bearded Gamer Show. And of course, see, it's a Wednesday when you're seeing this, so of course it's New Comic Book Day. Let's get in the pull list. So it's time once again for me to recommend comic books that you should absolutely go and pick up on Wednesday, New Comic Book Day. Go find your local comic book store, or if you got to do digital, do that too. You know, it still supports the medium, but I just love print. But go talk to your local comic book guru. Go support their shop and pick up these books and find out what else they think you should be reading. So first up, Batman Annual #1. Yeah, I guess we've finally been in the New 52, DC's New 52, long enough to get some annuals. I love annuals. There's something just so comic booky, it's not really a word, anyway, about the annuals. So you got your normal 12 issues in the year, and then you get an extra one. Now, granted, it's not for free, but it's usually like a little thicker. It's like a standalone story, and it's always really cool. And in this case, they're going to be introducing Mr. Freeze into the New 52. So this sort of new, rebooted DC universe, we're finally going to see Mr. Freeze, which is, you know, just a great classic Batman villain. Horrible in movies, great in the comic book, so very much looking forward to this one. And of course, like everything else with Batman and New 52, it's tying into this whole Night of Owls thing. So we get to see exactly how, you know, in what way does Mr. Freeze play into this overarching story that they've got going on through all the Batman titles. Should be really great. All right, next one, little indie title called Grim Leaper #1. Not Grim Reaper, Grim Leaper. Now, this is coming from the guy who's the creator behind Green Wake and Peter Panzerfaust by the name of Curtis J. Wiebe. Now the story is this guy named Lou has somehow gotten himself in a curse where he'll jump into the body of a total stranger only to be a part of their gruesome death over and over again. Now it sounds all nasty and horrible, and he's trying to find a way out of this curse. And then he meets a girl who has the same curse. So it's this sort of weird romantic comedy thing gone just gruesomely wrong over and over and over again. It's just really intriguing, really cool concept. I loved reading the preview of the first issue. Go check this one out. It should be a great one. And of course, it's issue #1. That's where you jump in, right? Next up, this one, I got to gear up for this one so I don't, you know, pass out from excitement. Star Trek: The Next Generation, Doctor Who, Assimilation Squared. Okay, so it's the 11th Doctor and his companions meet Jean-Luc Picard and the crew of the USS Enterprise to fight against the Borg, who are teaming up with the Cybermen. I mean, come on. Do I really need to say anything else? Oh, okay, all right. For the comic book fans out there, like myself, something to bring you in, because, you know, you always got to worry about these sort of licensed properties in this. The whole thing is painted, hand-painted by J.K. Woodward. Inside and out, all the artwork is painted, and it's fantastic. So seriously, I'm having trouble telling you how excited I am about this book. Go and pick it up. It's going to be awesome. Yes! Okay. Last recommendation. Ultimate Comics Ultimates #11. Now, if you've been reading Ultimates up to now, you realize in issue 10 and, you know, all the other issues leading up to it, everything went pretty much just completely sideways in the Ultimate Universe. Now, if you've not been reading, hit mute for a little bit. Okay, I'll do this when I'm done giving you spoilers, okay? Hit mute. Okay, now here we go. So what happened last time was little Reed Richards went crazy, used an antimatter weapon, destroyed Washington, D.C., killed the President of the U.S. and the first 14 people in line. Also, S.H.I.E.L.D. is hunting Nick Fury, and Tony Stark's brain tumor is back. Okay, everybody's back with me now. So everything went just, you know, bonkers in the Ultimate Universe. And now with issue 11, we're dealing with the aftermath, dealing with the fallout of this just huge, huge events, and where the Ultimate Universe as a whole goes forward from here. So it's a brand new creative team, brand new story arc that's going to start here. Not only, you know, the aftermath, the denouement, but also, you know, a new story that should have some great action and great creative team. So definitely go pick up Ultimate Comics Ultimates number 11. And as I say every week, I love comic books. I love the genre. I love print in general. And, this is an art form. It's very much an American art form, and it's something we need to support. And, if you're buying digitally, that's still great, but I also always recommend buy it in print. Support not only, your local, your comic book makers, but also your local comic book shops. It's just something that's just so wonderfully American. Yeah, I know Japan has manga, but it's not quite the same thing. So go and please support these wonderful artists and writers and local proprietors. And, those guys and gals that own those comic book shops, they know everything, and you can just waste hours, wonderful hours, talking with those people. They know so much about such a great art form, something I love so much. All right, enough with the in-print comic books. Let's head into some nerd TV. All right, so recently, of course, there's a new TV spot for The Dark Knight Rises. And, I was trying to think of good things to talk about this week, and I see this new TV spot for The Dark Knight Rises, and all the blood flowed right out of my head into my nerddom. Yeah, we'll go with that. And I couldn't think anymore, so I just thought, Batman. So, what I'm going to do for you, the top 5 best Batman villains, not of all time, no, but to ever grace the big screen. Okay, start off with number 5, and this is Scarecrow, that appeared, of course, in Batman Begins and also had a bit part in The Dark Knight. And Cillian Murphy, he can just pull off creepy in just the right way. And something about Christopher Nolan, his need to make this very grounded and very real, I think made Scarecrow all the more frightening. The fact that this could be, that, and there's something about a psychiatrist, someone who's supposed to be a confidant, turning on people like that. It's very spooky, and I thought Cillian Murphy just did a great job with it. Number 4, the Penguin. Of course, this was Danny DeVito. Who else could you imagine playing this part? Not just the body type. He oozes sort of slime and ick. He's so good at those kind of characters. And, it's a different sort of take than I think a lot of other Penguins might go. They go the sort of sophisticated mob boss route, and he had that, but he was also just so slick and slimy, and it sort of was a dichotomy of this guy who was trying to be upper crust. He was trying to be snobby and smooth, but he just couldn't pull it off, no matter how hard he tried. And I just think that's part of what made it work so well. If he had been the only villain in that particular movie, I think it would have been all the better for it, as good as Michelle Pfeiffer did look in all that latex. But anyway, number 3, and this is going to surprise some people, Jack Nicholson's version of the Joker. Now, yes, it was great, it was awesome for its time, but it's also distinctly, and this is not completely his fault, not exactly Joker-ish. Joker is the embodiment of chaos. He is the antithesis to Batman. He feeds on Batman. And instead, this Joker that they did, he sort of is this mob boss, and he's just, he's crazy, but he's just really well organized. And, Nicholson did a great job. Did a great job playing the part that he was written, but it could have been written better. We'll get to that in a little bit, as you can imagine. Number 2, Ra's al Ghul. It gets pronounced in different ways. But part of it here, you see, okay, here's Liam Neeson. Spoiler alert, okay, I think you've all seen Batman Begins by now. But they really play it off that it's actually Ken Watanabe playing Ra's al Ghul. And, even when they were doing trailers and all the solicitations that came out, they were very sort of, we didn't know this was who Ra's al Ghul was. Now, some of us, of course, watching the movie kind of guessed it as it was going along, but to know ahead of time, we didn't, because Ken Watanabe at the time was a pretty big name anyway. He'd done The Last Samurai recently, so he was kind of fresh in everyone's minds. We thought, oh, that's a big casting choice. That's a big name. He should be, awesome on his own. And, oh, he knows martial arts. He was just using a sword in The Last Samurai. Perfect. But lo and behold, no, he dies early, and that's the real Ra's al Ghul. But he still plays that whole sly, super intelligent League of Assassins. He's very much like Batman, except horribly brutal. And it really worked well. And it was just such a great choice. It's one of those villains that people outside comics don't necessarily know. I was very happy to see him. My number 1 best villain in Batman movies, as you can probably guess, is Heath Ledger's version of the Joker. And, people like to talk about, oh, it's because he died, and, that was horrible, but it really has nothing to do with why he was so brilliant. Now, a lot of this falls to Christopher Nolan once again. He understood the Joker. The Joker is chaos. The Joker, he laughs at horrible, gruesome, terrifying things, and he plays off of Batman. He would never kill Batman because it's too much fun for him to torture Gotham City and Batman and to prove his points of just utter chaos. And then there's just the character, the acting that Heath Ledger absolutely disappeared. He vanished into that part. There was no trace of Heath Ledger. It was just the Joker. And it was phenomenal. And it's going to be hard to top. Now, looking forward to The Dark Knight Rises, I think Tom Hardy as Bane and Anne Hathaway as Catwoman are going to do a great job. And it should be really cool. And I hope they play Bane the right way, where he is a super intelligent guy that just sort of gets fuddled up on drugs and gets all like crazy huge and scary, but still keeps that intelligence. That would be the key. And I think with Christopher Nolan, that's probably the route he'll go. Very much looking forward to it. Now, going to finish off this segment all about comic books and comic book related things with an oldie but a goodie, a segment I haven't done in a while, the burning question. So let's talk about Thor, all right? Thor was in Avengers. He had a pretty cool first outing as a movie. For me, wasn't as good as Captain America or some of the X-Men or Spider-Man films, but I thought it was solid. A lot better than I don't know, Green Lantern or Punisher or, there's a lot of bad ones out there. But pretty decent. Of course, it made a lot of money, which means there will indeed be, of course, a second Thor movie. Now, some announcements have come out that I don't really call newsworthy. This is why I'm sort of throwing it out to you in a question instead. Now, this new villain, it's going to have a villain, of course. It's a superhero movie. They have villains. It's how it works. Loki will be there, but he won't be the main baddie. Thanos, no. That's future, quoting, for the Marvel Comics movies, but it won't be Thor's major villain. It will be a major villain, though, somebody that's big in the Marvel Universe. And now here's the question, okay, coming to it. They recently cast Mads Mikkelsen, who you may have seen in Casino Royale. He was the villain there, in an unnamed villain part. So this is probably who we're going to see in this main title villain going up against Thor. Now the question is, who do you think it will be? Or more importantly, who do you want Thor to face off against? And his entire rogues gallery, all these really powerful, godlike beings that he wages war with on a consistent basis. Who do you want to see in that next Thor movie? Let me know in the comments. Of course, subscribe. Also, head over to, Bliss Planet Gaming on YouTube and check out the work I do over there. And hey, we'll see you next time.